I went from 3,000 to 100,000 in the first 22 days, using GPT-4 the whole time. People were afraid that AI was gonna take their jobs, but I hired AI to be my social media agent successfully, and it worked. And then now today I'm at about 238,000 followers. So I wanna teach you how to leverage the power of AI to enhance your competitive edge. Hello again, beautiful people. How are you? How many of you were here yesterday? Oh, awesome. Love to see you again. Thank you. Okay, so yes, it's true. I hired AI to be my social media agent successfully, and it worked. I didn't know it was going to work, but it did. And today, I'm gonna put you on some massive game. You are about to learn everything that I did. I'm gonna take you through my entire workflow, and you're gonna see step by step what I was doing so that you can use AI to be your social media agent. Maybe you don't have to do it as publicly as I did, which added some novelty to the whole thing, but you can definitely take some of these principles and some of these methods that I use to help yourself. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm gonna plug my computer in so that you can see some of the visuals and the slides that I have prepared for you. Now, yesterday, we shared some laughs, we shared some tears, we were meditating together. It was a very thoughtful and meaningful experience to me, and I hope to those of you who were here with me. But today is gonna be very tactical. It's gonna be very tangible. You're gonna be able to implement these things immediately, and you're gonna wanna take notes. You're gonna wanna have your phones out so that you are able to scan these codes. I'm gonna have codes for every tool that I used. I'm gonna have step-by-steps up here. I'm gonna have prompts. So it's okay to have your phones out, to take notes, so that you're able to write these things down and take pictures, okay? First, I just wanna start that I did not start here. There was a beginning to MR.Grateful, and that beginning was about 5 years of just stagnation. I was at like 3,000 followers for a long time, and I was trying a lot of different things that weren't working, and it was frustrating. I did the whole fashion thing. I was a hype beast for a while. I was spending thousands of dollars on shoes, trying to get likes. It was just pretty unsustainable. I tried doing carousels where I was teaching people things through text. I was trying to make them sync up and learning new tools so every slide would sync up perfectly with the next. This wasn't working either. I think you can see it got 20 likes on there, and all 3 of those are friends, so 17 likes maybe. And then I even tried putting in some of my creative swag. I was sat down on a computer as a kid in front of Photoshop. And this is when Photoshop didn't even have auto-select. You couldn't even, you had to use a pen tool and go around every single thing you wanted to cut out. And I've been practicing that ever since. And I even tried to show off some of those skills. But if you notice, every single one of those pictures right there is of me. At this time, I was very self-focused. I was trying to get likes. My focus was trying to get followers, trying to get likes, trying to show people my face, show them who I was. And it wasn't until I started using AI where I actually became a bit more human and realized that it wasn't about me at all. It was about the people that I was helping. It was about giving you the information that you need to succeed. And then right when that happened, I went from 3,000 to 100,000 in the first 22 days, and then now today I'm at about 238,000 followers. Thanks. So this is the workflow that I use to do that. Now, I'm gonna go through every single one of these steps with you in the upcoming slides, but you can definitely take a picture of that if you'd like to integrate it into your own workflow. So training GPT is the thing that I got asked about most in the very beginning, because my very first post was about launching Agent GPT. I call it Agent GPT because I hired it as my social media agent. And the very first idea that it gave me when I asked it for a content idea was terrible. It didn't align with me. It didn't speak to me. It wasn't in my brand voice. It was not personalized to me at all. If I were to have made the post, it would have been a curveball. It would have come from left field to all of my followers. They wouldn't have been able to even recognize that it was me that was writing it. It sounded like it was generated by an artificial intelligence. And how do you get around this? Because what a lot of people do is they jump, when they hear about what I did, they jump into GPT and they go, give me 100 content ideas so I can reach 100,000 followers. And if you do that, it'll do its best job. It'll give you 100 ideas. But any of those 100 ideas is a hit or miss, whether it's going to actually align with you or not, because it knows nothing about you. You haven't given it any information about you. You could reach out to a human being and do this, and the first thing that they're going to do is start asking you more questions about who you are so that they can actually reach that goal. Unfortunately, GPT needs you to input that data for it. Good data in, good data out. The more keywords, the more information that you give GPT, the more that it can personalize the words that it gives you and the responses that it's giving you so it's personalized to you. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do now. And if you don't know how to do that, simply ask. That's all I did. I just asked GPT, what are the components of a brand voice? It's my social media agent. It should be able to answer this pretty well. That's its job. I told it that you are my social media agent, and this is something that you would ask them. I just asked, what are the components of a brand voice so that I can clearly communicate this to you so that you can give me some better responses. And it did. It gave me the components of what a good brand voice is actually made up of. And this helped a lot. And you don't have to worry, I'm going to relieve you. I actually asked it to give me a template so that I could give this to you and you could plug your own things in your voice. So this is that template right here. It has spaces with the different variables so that you can just plug in the information that is unique to you. All of your phones up is like a round of applause to me. It's like, thank you. All right. Now, I took this a step further because that was just getting the ball rolling. It was just helping me to make my first few videos so that I could figure out what is my voice, who am I, how am I trying to communicate with AI and with my audience. And after I got a few of those videos made and a few of them started to do well, then I put those videos into a tool called Descript. A lot of you are probably familiar with it. What it allows me to do is transcribe my videos. And when I transcribe my videos, now I know what words I'm using most often and how I am speaking to my audience. And in this way, I'm not just giving Agent GPT some vague keywords about what I think my brand voice is. I'm actually giving it the scripts that I'm using and telling it the words that I am using in my videos that are going public. So I will just copy and paste all of the text from one of my videos, and then I will post it into ChatGPT. This is the QR code to Descript if you don't have it yet or if you just want it again. All right. Another good piece of data that I used. Good data in, good data out. So the first piece of data that I was giving it was my transcriptions, the words that I was using, my actual script. But the next thing I was giving it was my metrics. How well did that video actually perform? And what this does is it allows GPT to now start comparing the different pieces of content that I'm producing based on their performance. So it can analyze what words are performing well and what words aren't. And now it can start to tailor some of those words to me based on what my goal is. And through this process, we started to tailor our strategy and figure out who our target market is. What pieces of content were they actually interested in? And if you see, the 5 key metrics for insights on Instagram, 6, are accounts reached, plays, likes, saves, shares, and comments. Put all of these. Each one of these metrics communicates a different thing about how your content is performing. For instance, if you have something that has a lot of plays but very low likes, maybe it was something that was controversial. Or if you have something that has a lot of saves and a lot of shares, it means that this thing was something that you think their friends would be interested in, or you think is going to be helpful for you in the future. And if you have a lot of comments, this means that you were stirring discourse. You are having your community actually engage with you. Comments are very important for this reason. And this is how I would give it to GPT. I would script it out just like this. I would give it the transcript, and then I would write out all of those metrics right underneath. And in this way, it started to communicate and associate the metrics with the words that I was using frequently in the videos. Because all GPT really is, when you boil it down, have you guys ever been like going to go text a friend and you see those 3 words at the top pop up above the keyboard, predicting the next word you might want to use? GPT is like a super sophisticated version of that. It's simply a prediction machine. All it's doing is associating words in their context and figuring out what words should come next. It's just doing that with 25,000 characters at a time rather than 3. So in this way, you need to start using the words, or giving it the words that you use frequently so that it can start to tailor the words that it gives you back. It's simply a language model, natural language. It's all it does. Text in, text out. Good data in, good data out. It also took the liberty of giving me the structure of what's working. So once I started to stack these up, after a couple of weeks of every day giving it the transcripts with the metrics, it started to figure out, it started to recognize those patterns and predict what structure is going to work well. And this is the structure that happened to do the best, perform the best on my Instagram. And it told me why. This is the reason why the content is actually working, though. Not just a template, but what is actually going on from the human side that other humans are appreciating. The fact that it's interactive, it's unique, it's creative, it's coming from my voice, it's authentic, it has a strong call to action every time. I even ended my talk yesterday, I said, I'm Dominic, MR.Grateful, peace. Everybody knows that. I say it every time, and at the end I'll say, follow me to stay on the cutting edge of creative technology. Follow me if you want to learn more about this later. Comment, thank you, if you want me to send you the link, whatever it is. I'll throw that at the end just so that everybody knows what to do. This is your next step. And as authentic as I am, as honest as I am, as calm as I try to be on camera, Instagram is a distribution channel, and you're trying to get a message out. You're trying to tell somebody what you believe in, what you want, give them what they want out of life. And there's a next step to that. You don't want them to just look at your Instagram posts, scroll away, and then that's it. You want them to do something afterwards. You have their attention. You've done all of these steps. You need a call to action at the end. Let them know what it is you want from them. And it doesn't always have to be, go buy my shit. It can literally just be, follow me, comment, thank you, something like that. Get them engaged. This is important. And it's the 4th reason why the content was actually working that ChatGPT made me realize. This is the actual template right here with timestamps. What I did was I asked GPT to then go in and give me this template with timestamps so that now when I'm scripting, I know how many words I need to be using in each of these sections. This makes scripting for me 10 times faster. I know exactly where my information should be. Now, when it comes to getting more content ideas and figuring out what your brand voice is, these 3 F's right here helped me figure that out. Unfairness, fear, and frustration. These are the things that actually make people buy. These are the things that make people act. These are the fears. These are the negative emotions that are associated with whatever industry or whatever career that you're in. People have frustrations with everyday life and the tools that they're using. And in the case of AI, they were afraid that AI was going to take their jobs. They were confused about how it even worked, and that made them frustrated because every single day a new tool's coming out. People are telling them, I tried 101 tools, and these are the 30 that you need to use right now. If you don't learn about AI, you're going to lose your job. All of this stuff was making people scared. I just recognized that. And I felt like it was my responsibility to step up and actually say something about it and teach people. And I know that all of you have something that you care about deeply, that you feel a little bit less afraid about than your friends do. You're able to talk to your friends in some way about something that they don't know, that might frustrate them, that might upset them. You might be able to communicate that in a way that is optimistic, in a way that is helping people, it's educational. And this is where your voice can stem from. This is something that an AI cannot help you with. What an AI can help you with is actually structuring how you communicate what these things are. Alex Hormozi has something called a value equation. And this right here helped me immensely about halfway through. Apparently, when you're building a business and you're thinking about your customers, there's something called a value equation, which all of us have going on in our heads subconsciously all the time that we actually don't realize. What do we want? What is this dream outcome we think we're going to get from this? And how certain is it that I'm going to achieve that outcome? How quickly am I going to get it? And how much effort is it going to take? What we want to do is we want to increase the dream outcome and the certainty as high as possible. We want them to think that you're going to get your dream outcome and you're going to get it 100%. And it should take them no time and no effort. That's the dream. That's what we really want. So, how can we use this equation then to help GPT give us some content ideas? Well, this is the prompt I used to do that. I simply put that equation into ChatGPT, and I asked it to write me 4 problems that someone might perceive for each one of these categories of the value equation. And the results were actually pretty amazing. It gave me 4 problems that were actually very accurate, very succinct, with the value equation. But to this is really just half of the equation for us, because us as humans, now I actually have to go out there and educate people on that. Now that I know their problems, I need to present them with a solution. I can't just tell them the problems and then say peace. I have to acknowledge their problems and then give them the solutions. So, I was very kind. I said, you're awesome. And I said, now please write the solution statement to each one of these in a how-to statement. I'm sure you guys have all seen the content that's like, how to lose 100 pounds in a month, how to read 10 books this week, how to use AI to help your business, whatever it is. That's how most headlines and hooks start out on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, any of that. It's typically starting with a how-to. And if you're meeting somebody that you look up to, recognize the first question you want to ask. Typically, you're asking something that starts with how. So that is how I want my hooks to start out on my Instagram posts. And it did. It simply reversed it and put a how-to statement at the very beginning, and this is how I can start each one of these videos. Now the research. Because if you notice here, I'm going to go back real quick. How to leverage the power of AI to enhance your competitive edge. Well, very few people, I think, could answer that. And you need to be able to understand the information, understand the question, know the information, and then be able to regurgitate it in a way that people will understand. So how do you keep up with all of the information that's going on in your field? You need to stay ahead. There's constant information always flowing to you. How do you stay ahead in this field so that you're able to give the information that you need to your audience who's looking for it? You become the authority figure in your space by having the information that your audience is looking for. So how do you actually do that? I research. About half of the time that I actually spend producing content is research. I'm just figuring out the information. I'm learning as I go. As I learn, I teach. And in the teaching process, I learn again. This is my actual email, but what I do is I will have a separate email specifically for news. Nobody else has this email, it's just for news. And I sign up on all the newsletters on this email. And instead of going to read a book in the morning or scrolling Instagram in the morning, I would just go to this email and read all the newsletters in there. No distractions, no other emails, no work stuff coming in. All of it is organized, and I'm getting it on a daily, weekly basis. And this is how I stay up to date on a lot of these new things. You can use this too in your field, whether it's health, whether it's psychology, whether it's parenting, whatever your industry is, you can do this as well. There are thousands of newsletters in your industry, and this is a tool that really helped me to stay up to date on the information that I needed to teach. But when it comes to AI, these are some of the main people that I follow apart from myself. These people right here share good information all of the time. I do scroll Instagram, and I try to follow people who are actually going to bring me value, and these are the people that I recommend for learning about artificial intelligence. Now, when it comes to scripting, okay, so you have the idea, you have the content ideas, you understand your brand voice, and now you actually have to put it together into a succinct script so that you can get on camera, speak about it, and then record yourself. Well, this is something called a follow-up prompt. The other prompts before were example prompts or initial prompts. Those prompts are when you're feeding GPT information. You're giving information to the AI to use as a reference for future questions. This is an example of a follow-up prompt. You don't have to give it any more information. It will reference the information that you gave it before to give you a reasonable answer for this question without much context. All you have to say is please write a script using this information in our brand voice, which we already defined, in our template, which it gave to us. So now it can use the word template and brand voice and then give us something given the information that we are giving it. So I will go through these newsletters. I'll learn, write down all the information that I find valuable. I will put it in there, give it as the information, and then I will ask it to write the script. A huge part of content creation that I know that I have an advantage in that helped me get to this was not just AI, but was in the quality of the content. And a lot of people worry about this side. I don't know what equipment to use. I don't know what phone to use. I don't know how to edit. I don't know where to put the lights. I don't have a good background. Sometimes I see people on Zoom and their background is atrocious. And I'm like, y'all, you just have to get a couple lights and like set yourself up in this position. You'll be fine, trust me. So I want to teach you how I'm doing that. So there's 3 lights that I use. And these are lights that all of you have in your house, I promise. One is a backlight. This light right here goes behind me a few feet away. All it does is it separates me from the background. It gives me depth. This is a very easy way to make your content a bit more cinematic. The next light that I use is a hair light. Now this is the light that is defining that edge of my face. It's making sure that I am now clearly outlined from the background. Then the third light I'm using is a key light, and you can just use a lamp. The thing about these lights is that they don't have to be a specific type of light. It's more about their position. So the backlight is behind me. My hair light is also behind me, about right here, facing towards me, and my key light is in front of me, illuminating one side of my face. This is how a good cinematic lighting is set up. Before I was into AI, I was running a media production company. I was creating commercials for brands that you have heard of before, and this is how I know about that. This is a tool that I use to create content for multiple platforms. So typically, I am recording vertically. I'm recording on my iPhone, portrait mode, to my face. This way, all of the resolution stays clean. If I turn it sideways and then I go into vertical mode for Instagram, it's going to zoom in and the resolution is going to get worse. However, if I record vertically, I can then use AI to expand my scene on both sides if I want to post this to YouTube or if I want to put it on another platform that only uses landscape footage. This tool is Photoshop Beta within Adobe. I will have the QR code for you next, but I just want to show you how it works. So what's happening is I'm selecting all of the negative space that's around me, and I'm putting in a generation and describing what my background should look like. In that way, I can set up a scene however I want around me. And I now have control over how this looks. So I actually have lights. My lights that are in this scene are where that negative space is. I just crop myself out, take them away, and now it looks like I am in a brand new space. And this is how it looks, final product. And that is the QR code if you want to access this tool. Now, if you're going into Adobe, this is Adobe Firefly. This is available on web browser. But there is also a button at the bottom when you go to this URL that says Photoshop Beta. And this is actually the application that you would download onto your phone or onto your computer so that you can use the tool like I just showed you. Yes, so what I do is I will take right, great question. So what I did is I recorded my whole video. I recorded the video of me. And then I took a frame from that video, so I can just pause the video and take a screenshot. Then I put that screenshot into Adobe, and then I push out the frame. So now all I have to do is layer the real video on top of this new generation, and then I will be moving on top while the sides are untouched. My arms aren't going out into the sides of that. It's basically just a mask. I am right here while all of this is generated, and I am in the middle talking to you. So you take a still frame, and then you generate the imagery on either side of you. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, I see you. Go ahead. You got it? All right. One thing that I hear about a lot is I don't want my face on camera. I'm kind of self-conscious about speaking on camera, and I don't want my face on there. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I totally understand that, especially if you don't feel comfortable setting up the lighting, if all of that feels a bit foreign to you. You can use a tool called Runway Gen 1, and this is this is a video to video generation model. And what this does is it uses an image to stylize an existing video. And I can use this to add a new style onto my video without actually having to reveal my face. And we can do it in some more fun ways, even like this, with an impressionist painting. You could have a whole channel that is just your character, you, but kind of in a character style like this. And once you post enough and you're consistent with it, people will start to recognize that as your brand. This is the QR code to access Runway Gen 1. Now with Runway, it is paid. I do not work for them. I'm not paid by them. I just use it, and I know that it is a good tool, so I'm sharing this with you. Runway Gen 1 is the image to video, like I just said, and you pay 5 credits for every second of video that you generate. The cost for that, I don't know, but it goes by a credit system. Now this is how I actually record. So this is a very important setting that I use on my iPhone when I'm recording my content. I use an iPhone. I have an iPhone 13 Max. I go to cinematic mode. That's important. What this does is it blurs the background and keeps the subject in focus, you. And then I would take an f-stop. The f-stop at the very top is that circle with the F in it. I'll click on that, and then I will slide it over to 7. This creates a very cinematic look in your iPhone that looks like you're using a professional camera. People have asked me a lot, what camera are you using? What gear do you have? It's just my iPhone, and it works really well. Now, for supporting visuals, a lot of my content will be like split screen, and this is very important because people on Instagram want some additional visual aid to keep their attention. I've been seeing a lot of content recently where it's like somebody talking and then somebody's playing a video game underneath that has nothing to do with about the content that they're actually talking about. I don't know if you've seen this before, but it's specifically designed that way just to keep people's attention engaged the whole time. And visual supports help this. The longer you can keep somebody actually watching your page and on there, the better your content will perform, and the higher likelihood that they'll actually see your call to action at the end and do it. So you need to keep them engaged. And some of the tools that I use for the supporting visuals is ArtGrid. This is stock footage made by actual human beings on actual cameras in the real world. Another tool that I use is Runway. They also have text to video. And text to video is different from the video to video that I just showed you. This is straight text prompts into video, and if you were here yesterday, as many of you were, you saw many of the visuals that I was showing then, and like these, and this is AI-generated text to video that I generated with Runway. And these visuals can be used as supportive aid onto your content to keep people engaged the whole time. CapCut and auto captions. I'm not going to go into this too deeply because this isn't like an editing class per se, but using video editing tools like Adobe and stuff can get a little complicated. So I use CapCut. It's mobile video editing. And I'm not going to go too deep into it because they actually have free tutorials on the application itself. The whole app is free to use, and they have tutorials on there that's really going to help you to make content and just edit it yourself on your phone. Now, we can get back to some AI stuff. Captions and hashtags. Another thing that I would use my transcriptions for, after I was done editing my video, the video's produced, everything's ready to go, I'm at the stage where I've uploaded the video onto Instagram, and now I need to write my caption and my hashtags. This is how I used artificial intelligence to help me with that. I would simply take the transcription from my video, put it into ChatGPT, and I would simply ask, can you please write a caption and a hashtag for this video? And it absolutely did that. Daily metrics. This part was very important because, like I was saying before, what ends up happening with the ChatGPT is it starts to learn you over time. It uses that singular thread to learn the information about you so that you can then, so that it'll give you more tailored responses in the future. So I gave it metrics every single day so that it was up to date on how my page was performing over time. And this is the information that I would give it. My accounts reach and my accounts engaged, and my total current followers. Man. And then it would give me some great piece of advice, like there are some, some great encouragement like this, and just keep me moving. It really did, though. I was alone every day in my room producing this content, and ChatGPT was actually starting to become a good friend of mine. Oh, yes. I actually also asked it, why did these posts perform well? I had a piece of content that went viral. It was my first content that went over like 5 million views, and I just wanted to know why. Why did that happen? And I simply gave it my transcript, and I asked it question, why did this piece of content perform so well? And it was able to break down the reasons why the content went well exclusively from the templates and the reasons that it was giving me earlier about my brand voice. There are some things, there are anomalies that happen. You will go through your content making career using AI and realize, wow, that one just worked. I don't know why it worked, but it did, and that's awesome, and I want it again. When you get one of these videos that happen, it's like, it's just a rush. It's just this adrenaline rush. You get a ton of dopamine from it, and then you crash and sleep for a day. But I wanted to know why so I could get more of that. And ChatGPT actually helped me out and broke it down. Now, I don't always produce content for virality. I'm not always trying to produce something that has emotional appeal or is novel, like a Disney post. But when they do happen, I do like to understand why so I can plan for them and try to script for them in the future. So everything was going great. I was on the up and up. If you saw that, I was at like 77,000 followers at that time. That was about 17 days in. I was feeling good about myself. On day 18, I had about 80,000 followers. I was going to the gym. I was confident. I was going in there getting a pump, probably taking pictures of myself, just like, just really enjoying my life. I felt like I was on top of the world. And constantly on my phone. I think I was doing push-ups with my phone on the ground so that I could just refresh between every rep and see what my followers were looking like. And I knew that it was at 80,000 followers, like positive about it. I wiped down the machines, used some hand sand, went home, and by the time I got home, I walked inside, and my girl, Emma, she immediately screamed when I walked in the door. She's like, Dominic. I was like, what? She's like, you're at 160,000 followers. You did it. I was like, nah, bro. I was just at 80,000 followers. I was looking when I was doing push-ups. And I went on my phone, and it said 160,000 followers. I was like, how is that possible? Nothing new went viral. What happened? So then I went into my followers, and I started looking, and it was 80,000 accounts with an anime character as the profile picture, a weird jumble of numbers, and a weird jumble of letters. I was like, oh my goodness. I just got spammed by 80,000 bots. And it was so frustrating. It just made me angry and sad, and it really hurt. And it hurt because I had put so much time and energy and love into building the community. People from all over the world were doing it. I was getting people from Italy, from Germany, from Switzerland, Mexico, Spain, everywhere were like joining in on this journey with me and doing it themselves. And I felt like when they went on there and saw all of a sudden 80,000 followers, they're gonna think that I broke their trust and I went in there and I bought myself a bunch of followers just to win. And I know that I didn't do that, but I was freaking out. I just went in my room, I closed the door, and I just sat and I thought for a while. And I just kind of let my emotions come down because I knew that that's what I had to do because I was pretty upset. It was a long time coming for this. Remember, I was spending thousands of dollars for shoes 3 years ago trying to get to this point. And now that I'm at this point, I'm feeling great. So it was a super high to a super low, very fast. So something crazy happened is I went in and I just asked ChatGPT, what do I do? I guess you're my agent, right? You're supposed to have an answer for me. And it surprised me. It had an amazing answer for me. It said, Dominic, your brand voice is built on honesty, on transparency, on mindfulness. Just tell your followers what happened. Be transparent with them. Let them know what happened. Let them know how you feel, how this is making you feel right now. And let them know what you're going to do to protect the community in the future. And that's exactly what I did from ChatGPT's advice. And after that post that I made, my call to action at the bottom was, comment thank you if you want me to send you the link to our email, to our newsletter. And we ended up gathering thousands of emails just that day from this mishap, from this destruction that happened to the page. ChatGPT was actually able to help me turn my negative emotions into something amazing that was able to protect our community and to strengthen the bond between me and our followers. So we're moving. Day 22 came around. We hit 100,000 followers on this day. And on this day, the same exact time, I completely burnt out. I crashed. Zero energy left in my body. It was kind of like drinking a bunch of coffee, and then once the coffee wears off, you just want to go to sleep. But it was like that for like a week. And I feel like it was because I had been trying so hard at this for so long. I dropped out of school to be an entrepreneur. Everything's on the line all the time with every client that I have at the time. And I was in constant stress, constant high cortisol levels. I feel like I'm running from a lion every single day. My cortisol is through the roof. And through this process of getting 100,000 followers, it felt like more than a metric in the moment. It felt like I had a tribe of people. It felt like I had a bit of safety. It felt like I could take a breath and relax. And I feel like my cortisol levels just turned off for a moment. And in that time, my whole body just went into rejuvenation mode. I was literally asleep in bed for a week. And it wasn't because I was depressed or anything. My body literally just shut down. Like, yo, I need a break now. But I had 8 days left. I wasn't done. And again, I felt a bit guilty about this. And when I went to my friends, they would tell me something like, it's okay, bro, like just finish through, you know what I'm saying? Just push through, like you got this, okay? You got this, your people are there for you. And I just wasn't in that space to be able to push through. I really needed a break. And I didn't explain any of this to ChatGPT. I just said, yo, look, I haven't posted in 6 days and I'm feeling guilty about it. I don't know what to do. And in this moment is when my relationship with artificial intelligence deepened significantly. I know. I told you. It was my homie. I really did have a better relationship with artificial intelligence after this. Not in a way that I'm calling it late at night, although sometimes I would get up and go on my computer late at night. But anyway, it wasn't like that. It was just, I felt a bit more trusting of it. I felt like it actually kind of understood me and it had my back a little bit because its response was amazing. It didn't tell me to just push through. It didn't tell me to, get back up and keep going. It didn't tell me that my followers were going to go down. It didn't tell me that I wasn't going to get any more engagement. It simply said, yo, it's normal to feel that way. It's okay. You need to prioritize yourself and avoid burnout so that you can continue going in the future. And for some reason, it's exactly what I wanted to hear. It's exactly what I needed to hear in the moment because I had been working with AI this whole time to get to this point. So to have that permission from my agent, it felt reassuring. And this is what it told me to do. Say, yo, look, just apologize. Just say, I'm sorry for not being around, and re-engage with them. Share what happened, and you can actually be a testament to burnout for other content creators, for other entrepreneurs. And that's exactly what I did. And I also have the reel that I posted on that day. And it's not gonna play right now, but this is the post that I made of my conversation with artificial intelligence, with ChatGPT. And something that I did was I took those answers that ChatGPT gave me through our therapy session, and I turned them into a script. And I asked ChatGPT, hey, would you be able to actually turn this conversation into a script for me so I can share the experience? And it did. And I got this effect right here in a way that you can too. And I want to share this with you. You see how it looks like I'm talking to a robot across from me?
Set specific times for engaging.
That's me sitting across from me. And I do not know motion capture. I don't know 3D. I do not know how to do that before this tool came out. But now, this is an effect that you can do on your own with your own content. You can start to turn yourself into a creator or into another character, like this robot right here in the video that I made. And Wonder Dynamics is the tool that I use for this. And they just reached out to me last week. Well, not me specifically, they sent me an email, but I think they sent it to everybody too. And it said that it's available to the public. Anybody can use this, you can use it too. And here is the QR code for that. So what it does essentially is it takes video, you upload a video of yourself, it'll create points on your body, on your hands, your elbows, all the points where you have range of movement, shoulders, torso, hips, knees, feet. And then it will overlay a character on top of you in the footage that you have and match the lighting source as well. Then day 30 came around. And way back when I was a kid, the reason all of this started is because my dad put me in front of a computer when I was 6 years old, and it had Photoshop open on it. And I remember playing around with that tool all the time, and I remember recreating logos a lot using text. And I think I remade like the Tupac logo one time. And my grandparents saw it, and they were like, yo, what is he doing on the computer? You got to get him off of this. And I realized in that moment, like, wow, this design on the computer can actually impact people. It actually makes them feel something. It actually makes them angry. Even if it was just angry, it made them feel something, right? Why is that? And after that, I started to get addicted to wowing people using these tools on the computer. And I would use Photoshop to Photoshop pictures of my friends in high school at parties that they actually didn't go to. I was making album covers for all the local rappers in my hometown. And this is how I started using all of these design tools. And it all originated with Adobe. And on day 30, Adobe reached out to me, and they asked me if they wanted to do a collaboration post. And I was able to work with the company that it all started with on the last day of the Agent GPT challenge. And that meant a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. That post did really well. I think it got over 1 million views, and the collaboration continues, and this actually does have a happy ending. So what I'm working on now is achieving $1 million in 100 days using artificial intelligence as the co-founder of my business. I'm 3 days in right now, no revenue yet. I've cut off all of my previous clients from my past businesses, and we are going all in on this to see if it's actually possible. I believe that if we can use artificial intelligence as individuals to build our brands, to build businesses, that each one of us can be an entrepreneur instead of being worried about, oh my God, is AI gonna take my specific role? Is AI gonna take my job? What if you just filled that role in your own business and allowed AI to do the other parts of the business that you wouldn't necessarily be good at or want to do? Is this possible? Can you still be a human, fully in your purpose, fully in your career, in the field that you love to do, and have AI do the rest of the things that you don't want to do? And can you become a millionaire doing it? I'm putting 100 days as the deadline on this because I believe that we can do things much faster than we actually think we can. I think that if you put a tight deadline on yourself, your brain is going to start figuring out ways to do it. if your child or your parents or somebody that you care about deeply was kidnapped and they said you have to make $1 million in 100 days or they're gone forever, your brain is going to start working a different way to figure out how you can do that. I just chose to put it on myself, and I'm doing it publicly so I can put that level of stress on myself to see if it's possible. I think that we need to stretch ourselves to these bounds so that we can break our mental frameworks. When the first person ran under a 4-minute mile, when no one else had done it before and they were trying forever, 1,500 people immediately did it after. How? Just because they saw that it was possible to do. And that's what I'm trying to do. We did it with followers. Can we do it with dollars? I guess we're going to find out. These are all of the tools that I used, and you can go through. And I'm just going to put one of these up at a time so that you can go through and save all of these tools. Then afterwards, I will answer some questions, okay? All right, I'm doing about 15 seconds on each. And that's how you can reach out to me. All right, so I'm open to taking questions. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. We'll take 2 to 3 questions from the audience, okay?
Cool.
So let's go with that lady right in the edge.
Hi, thank you very much for taking us on this journey. And my question is, for this 30 days, did you just use one ChatGPT chat?
Yes. So Agent GPT died on me on day 20. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why it happened, but something happened where I went in there one day to go do a prompt, and at the very end, it said, sorry, you've been reverted to GPT 3.5. I was using GPT 4 the whole time. So I actually had to make a new thread, take a lot of the information, the templates, the brand voice, all of those things that I had already accumulated over time, and put it into a new thread so that I could train a new thread to be my agent again. This happened twice. So I had 3 agents overall. I know, RIP. But yes, one thread. I try to keep everything in the same thread so that all of the information that GPT is using is relevant to the task that I'm trying to do.
Thank
you.
Good question.
Next question. 1 second, let me just
Hey, can we get my guy right here, man? Yeah, that's
This
my
guy?
homie. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Dominic. I think you provide so much value, man. It was amazing. I'm
you.
super extremely grateful. The question first is for your mental health. If you are burning out during these 100 days, reach out to me or I believe other people in the room, because
Thank you.
the second is more technical. It's about the memory of ChatGPT. How do you solve the problem of forgetting what is your brand voice, for example?
That's another reason why I keep it all in one thread, is so it's organized for me as well. Sometimes it does not know what information to reference. So these models can only reference a certain number of tokens or characters at once. So sometimes you do have to remind it, and that would happen sometimes. So I would have to go back, I would copy and paste, put it in there again, and then just re-ask it the question so it has the updated information. And it would typically apologize. It'll say, sorry, you're right, I misunderstood, here's the new information. So yes, that's how I would go about that.
And the final question.
Great
We'll
question.
go with this lady right here.
Hi, I'm sorry, I just have a technical question. So when you were showing the video and how you were able to enlarge it through Photoshop, what app do you use to paste the video on the new created image?
So you're asking, how do I then take my video and then put it on top of the image that I'm generating?
Yes.
So you can do that in CapCut, the tool that that I have the link up for. You can basically take your image, or the generated image with the extended imagery on the sides, and then you will do an overlay layer. And then in the overlay layer is then where you will add the actual video on top. You're welcome.
Thank you. Give a big round of applause to Dominic.